Hi, I'm Precious. Today, my team and I will be analyzing Chime. For most, traditional financial institutions like brick-and-mortar banks, such as Wells Fargo, Regions, and Colony Bank, are the obvious method of starting a checking and savings account. However, for some, due to past account history or low credit scores, access to these institutions is denied. Also, others just might be aggravated with the pesky fees they have to pay monthly or just for transferring or withdrawing funds. Fortunately for them, neobanks like Chime are on the rise. Neobanks, referred to as challenger banks, are fintech firms that streamline mobile and online banking through various software, apps, and other technologies. What sets Chime apart from the countless of neobanks out there? Its aim to change the way people think about banking. It was founded in 2013 by Chris Britt and Ryan King on the premise that banking services should be helpful, easy, and above all, free. Chime offers fee-free second chance banking for any American citizen above 18 years of age with a valid Social Security number living in the United States or the District of Columbia. When signing up for Chime, all users need is their first and last name, Social Security number, email, and a password. Once signed up and verified, users can sign up for a checking account, which comes with a free Visa debit card, a savings account, and can set up direct deposit. If users receive direct deposits of at least $200 monthly, they can enroll in Chime's SpotMe service, which allows them to overdraw their account by up to $20 on debit card purchases. Based on account history, direct deposit amounts, and frequency, spending activity, and other factors, Chime can increase the SpotMe allowance to up to $200 or more. Chime Saving Account offers 0.50% annual percentage yield or API, and like any other Chime service, does not charge any monthly fees or require a minimum balance. There's no cap on the amount of interest a user can earn. In fact, as long as you have at least a penny, you'll earn interest. In addition, Chime offers two optional programs to make saving easier. One, the Save When You Spend feature, which allows users to save small amounts when making purchases. Whenever the Chime debit card is used, the transaction amount is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the difference is transferred to their savings account. For example, if a user were to spend $29.50 at the grocery store, the user would pay the store the amount from their debit card, $29.50, and Chime, rounding up to $29.50 to $30, would move 50 cents from their checking account to their savings account. 2. The Save When You Get Paid feature, which allows users to set up a recurring transfer of 10% of their direct deposit paycheck of $500 or more from their checking account to savings account each time they get paid. As for credit cards, after receiving a qualifying direct deposit, users can enroll in Chime's Credit Builder card, which does not require a credit check. Chime reports payments to all three major credit bureaus. Using Chime provides users with numerous benefits, including lack of overdraft fees, monthly fees, ATM fees, foreign transaction fees, and early access to paychecks up to 2 days earlier. Chime is a great option for those who don't have necessarily the best credit score or past account history, and those looking to avoid the countless fees banks charge.
Hello, my name is Joe Sayers, and my focus for the Opportunity Project has been to get to know the management team at Chime a bit more, in addition to learning about the company's culture. The management team includes Chime founders Chris Britt, who is the CEO, and Ryan King, the CTO. As we heard earlier, Chime is a free mobile banking service that provides banking through the Bancorp Bank and Stride Bank. Chime is appealing for its people-first, tech-driven approach to banking that doesn't include hidden fees. Chime earns revenue through interchange fees, which are fees paid between banks for acceptance of card bank transactions. Chime was founded in 2013 in San Francisco by Chris and Ryan as an alternative to traditional banking to create financial peace of mind for their customers. The company was launched publicly on the Dr. Phil Show on April 5th, 2014. For both founders, this was indeed their first company that they founded while they developed their experience at other companies. CEO Chris Britt started his career as a strategy consultant and later in a business development role in the late 1990s. From there, Chris took on an executive role in the financial services division of Comscore Networks before moving on to Visa as a senior product leader. Before forming Chime in 2013, he was at Green Dot Corp for nearly 5 years, where he grew from its chief product officer to SVP of corporate development. CTO Ryan King started his career as an engineer, and while working at company Plaxco for 8 years, he progressed from being an engineer to lead engineer, VP of engineering, and finally to COO, all within a 4.5-year time span. From there, Ryan took his experience to Comcast, where he worked 2 years as CTO and vice president before moving on to co-found Chime with Chris Britt. In addition to Chris and Ryan, Chime's management team consists of 12 other individuals, including standard roles like CMO, COO, and CFO, to in-house general counsel, SVP of people, SVP of technology and engineering, and a chief of staff. The management team at Chime found early on that leaders in the industry would be instrumental in providing validity to their brand, as well as to build trust as a new banking platform when most people are already familiar with traditional banking. This industry relationship is best reflected in Chime's relationship with Visa. Visa is a highly respected and trusted brand in the United States, and Chime management saw early on the value that Visa could bring to their business. While researching with the Visa team, they found that U.S. consumers were twice as likely to select a product with the Visa brand compared to other competitors. This matched very well with Chime's people-first approach and with Visa's wide acceptance. This would be very cohesive for the brands going forward. According to Chris Britt, CEO at Chime, he stated, having the Visa brand on your card instills a sense of trust that you're going to be taken care of. Visa represents worldwide acceptance and credibility, and that gave consumers the confidence to give Chime a try, end quote. Chime's culture is particularly important to them, and they are specific and intentional with the way in which they want their employees fairly treated and elevate everyone to the highest standard, as noted in Chime's company culture affirmation, which states, "We believe that creating a company where people love to work is built on relationships, growth, and impact. We cultivate a culture of low ego and set a high bar for excellence. We believe in flat organizations and open workspaces. We treat one another inside the company the same way we treat our members, by communicating in ways that build trust, operating with transparency, and having one another's back," end quote. Chime was certified as a great place to work in 2021, and Fortune listed Chime on their list of best places to work as well. During the certification process as a great place to work, 95% of Chime employees agreed that it was a great place to work. Employees surveyed feel that management is honest and ethical. In addition to these high qualities, employees enjoy that the company celebrates special events, and new employees are made to feel welcome and part of the team. As a comparison, Comparably.com has a mediocre engagement rating for Chime, while Glassdoor.com has a much higher favorability rating than Comparably.com. Diving into the differences could certainly be beneficial to understand the variance between the two. A red flag item could be noted from 2021 when Chime was in the news for suddenly closing customer accounts without notice. Customers stated that once their accounts were closed, that Chime would not return the money. According to Chime, this action was an effort to crack down on fraudulent deposits that were becoming a concern during the COVID-19 pandemic, in which they found that individuals were fraudulently depositing other people's stimulus checks that were being distributed during the pandemic. While this could certainly be a practical step to protect from fraud, the way in which the company handled this situation could be reviewed further. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jonah Paul. I'm going to be talking a little bit about marketing of Chime. So Chime is one of the biggest virtual banks in the world. Chime has grown in size from less than $1 billion in revenue in 2018 to over $25 billion in 2021. 600 million of that is mostly through interchange fees. That's kind of how they operate. That's where they get most of their revenue from. They currently say that they have about 13 million customers, and 8 million of those use Chime as their primary bank. And since 2018, that's realized as a 31% year-over-year increase. Chime also has 35% share of all digital bank checking accounts. Next closest is Ally Bank with 9%, and they own close to 60% of total market share, which is a good bit. Chime is only available in the U.S. They don't really have any plans to launch in other countries as of now. They're really just trying to gain market share in the U.S. Like keep going with that, and as you know, if they get a solid footing, as they already have been, but if they continue to grow, they will then expand into other countries. 8 of U.S. consumers consider an online bank as their primary bank. 8% of U.S. consumers consider an online bank as their primary bank. So obviously that is a little bit of a challenge for Chime and the online banking industry as a whole. Most people still use brick and mortar banks, obviously, even if they're not going in person all the time. Like they're still using, all those brick and mortar banks have apps like Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Most of those that we use today still have that digital and online feature, but Chime is looking to cut into some of that market share. Among consumers with 2 accounts, digital banks have a 14% market share and then 17% market share with consumers that had over 3 checking accounts. So Chime's major feature is called actually featureization, which promotes no transactions fees, consumers getting early access to their money, which includes 2-day early access to direct deposit checks, and then something they call Spot Me, which is if you're running low, you can overdraw without any overdraft fees. And then they also have it's called the credit builder credit card. About 15% of the customers currently have this. It's just a credit card that's run through the bank, such as like a Venmo card. Like it kind of acts like that. So some of their big marketing tactics that they use is chiefly through their website design. They have multiple product types for multiple different accounts. They know consumers are choosing them for predominantly 1 or 2 product features that they offer. So they rank highly on Google for search engine keywords. So say you need free checking account, like no fees, or overdraft, like I don't want to have overdraft fees when I over withdraw. Those kind of things will pop up, and Chime has those integrated into their website design. So they'll pop up when people Google this. And they might not necessarily be looking for Chime, but they'll end up with it. They also have a high use of artificial intelligence. They use AI to create testing approaches to determine which marketing tactics to deploy. And I think that's definitely a big thing now, and it's going to continue to grow in today's day and age. And then just in terms of marketing spending, they spend about over $48 million in TV ads on an annualized basis, promoting their product far greater than their other competitors. So that's a big advantage because some of their competitors might not be able to afford that type of marketing, or even if they can't afford it, they haven't devoted as much money as Chime has to this. A couple challenges Chime faces. Just in terms of customer demographics, like I said earlier, they're just facing a lot of challenges from brick and mortar banks. Their demographics, in terms of demographics, 2/3 of Chime's customers are under the age of 40, so that's a big technology gap. And most of their users are less educated on average than those who use a brick and mortar bank. It's just because it's easier, so to speak. They need to generate and diversify revenue. Chime often relies too heavily on their interchange revenue, which means that they're kind of just internalizing that revenue. Then you're not getting actual revenue from those transactions. The rising cost of customer acquisition, as you know, like today's age, customer acquisition is always getting more expensive. Chime has to maintain their heavy marketing spend in order to continue to grow their customer base, even beyond that low to middle income consumer base. And these challenges are very similar to challenges mid-sized community banks and credit unions face, but it's actually the opposite in those industries cases because their customers are too old and not too young. And traditional banks are adding an average of 180% more mobile app users per month than digital banks over the past year. So they're really looking to cut into that as well. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lucy Kendrick, and I will be showing you the competitive analysis of the company Chime. Chime is wanting the banking services to be helpful, easy, and free. They would like to profit with members, not from them. And they also don't rely on overdraft fees, monthly service fees, minimum balance requirements, and more. Unlike Wells Fargo, where they require a minimum balance fee to start with, and different requirements for each account you start. We'll get more into that on the comparison of the two banks. Chime also partners with regional banks. This allows them to create more competitive market and lower cost options for everyday Americans who aren't being served well by traditional banks. Chime's goal is to also help drive innovation, inclusion, and access across the industry. As all industries do, Chime has a mission to create the best possibility for its consumers. The reason of the creation is they want everyone to deserve a financial peace of mind. They want to build a new kind of online banking account that helps members get ahead by making and managing your money easily. As Chime has stated, it's your money, your life, chime in. Chime still does face some challenges they're struggling to come up with a solution for. Their challenges include customer demographics, the need to generate diversity in revenue, and rising costs for customer acquisition. 2/3 of Chime's consumers are under the age of 40, and 15% have college degrees. Chime is also too heavy dependent on interchange revenue. For the company to continue to grow and expand its customers base beyond a low to middle income consumers, they will also need to maintain their heavy marketing speed. After listing all of the challenges Chime faced, now I will discuss the Chimes for, quote, their culture, or our culture. They're wanting to create a company where people love to work, build on relationships, grow, and impact people. They want to gain more communication between customers, communicating in the way to build trust, operating with transparency, and having another one's back. With reference to the culture, Chime has the slogan, "Banking's got your back." Just 8% of the U.S. consumers consider an online bank like Chime as their primary bank. Chime uses the featurization as their competitive weapon. Other banks compete on a number of propositions, including rates and segmentation. Chime, on the other hand, takes more of a featurization approach, as stated before, as their competitive weapon. Using the approach, it is able to attract consumers in the low and middle income brackets with advertising for having no service fees. There are 3 main features that the company offers. The first one is early access to their money. The second one is Spot Me. And the third one is Credit Builder Credit Card. Chime consumers say that they choose Chime as their primary banking because of the offering of the 2-day early access to their direct deposit paycheck. Also because Chime offers early access to the government stimulus and tax refund. With the 2-day early access, anyone with Chime can get paid 2 days early from their work instead of getting paid on payday for their job. Chime's second feature is the Spot Me feature. This feature allows Chime's customers to make a debit card purchase that does overdraw on their account but has no overdraft fees. This allows customers not to have to worry about having the money in the exact moment. Chime customers with monthly direct deposit of $500 or more are eligible to enroll. According to Chime's website, it quotes, limits start with $20 and can be increased up to $100 or more by Chime based on factors such as account activity and history, end quote. Chime's third feature is the Credit Builder Credit Card. Chime's predominantly low to middle income consumers are not in the middle of the big credit card issuers' marketing efforts. 15% of Chime's primary banking customer base either has the card or is on the wait list for the card, all within 6 months of launching the card. To get the card, the consumer must have a Chime spending account and have set up their direct deposit with the company. Now we're going to discuss Chime versus Wells Fargo, including their products, customer service, interest accounts, mobile app, and fees. First, starting with the products, Chime gives checks and investments accounts exclusively. As for Wells Fargo, they give more extensive scope of banking items and records. Both Chime and Wells Fargo have customer service open 24/7. The hours for the bank of Wells Fargo for the branch is from 9 to 5 in your time zone. For Chime's interest account, 0.5% APY, Chime's bank account is the solidary record you get revenue from. Wells Fargo, on the other hand, their savings account APY ranges around from 0.1% to 0.2%. In this situation, Chime would have the better advantage for having a 0.5%. The mobile app for each, Chime is very versatile record that has an underlying notification, prompt exchange cautions, and even more. As for Wells Fargo, anything that you can do on the branch, you can do online. The only exception to that is if having physical cash. But with Chime, you wouldn't have physical cash. It would all be online to begin with. As for the fees, Chime allows you to open an account and use it almost immediately. As for Wells Fargo, opening an account has a deposit fee of $25, and they're subject to monthly service fees. But Wells Fargo will waive those specific fees if you meet the specific requirements.